Welcome to Mackenzie Creations. In this video, we are going to use Anna Griffin candy wrapper box dies. And I picked this up from HSN on the past craft day in January. So let's get started. They give you an example sheet right here with the instructions inside. Okay, so it's 8 steps on the instructions. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not too great at putting boxes together. And so I'm gonna hold up the actual dies right here, and it's telling us to die cut 2 of the inner boxes, which is this right here, and then on the die sheets it's right here. So we're gonna cut out 2 of these, and then next it says die cut 2 wrapper layers nested using the smallest rectangular die to cut a window. And so this is the wrapper die right here. And it says use the smallest rectangle, which is right here. So I guess, let me get this off of here. Okay, so I have my die pieces right here. And then I'm gonna pick out some paper. I had picked these paper pads up from Michael's sometime last year, and so I thought this blue was a very pretty color. So I'm just gonna look through, pick out some paper, and I'll be back. Okay, I am back. So I picked out my paper, and I picked out this pretty design right here with the swimsuit, the flip-flop, the sandals. I am just so ready for winter to be over with. It has been a really bad winter, a lot of snow, frigid cold temperatures, and so I'm just looking forward to the summer. And so I just thought this paper just made me so happy. And then I also picked out a plain paper right here. So I'll actually cut my wrapper out using this paper right here. Let me just bring up the instructions, because it looks like the wrapper on the front here, a portion of this is going to be cut out, so you'll see the design, but I just thought it would look good with this piece right here. And then for the box pieces, I'll cut this out using this paper right here, so sharp side down. And I'm just going to take a few minutes to cut these out. And I'll use my Grand Marquis machine. So let me just grab it. This one's a little bit heavier than the regular Marquis. And I'll grab this big cutting plate because the wrapper is a little long. And so I'm just gonna run this through the die cutting machine. So I'll get all the pieces cut out and I'll be right back. Okay, I just wanted to pop back on. I have these pieces cut out, so 2 of these box pieces. And then I'm gonna cut out 2 of the wrapper pieces. So I'll just lay this sharp side down. And then it did say take the smallest rectangle. And so I'm gonna lay it just like this. Just center it as best as you can. And then you wanna tape this down so it won't move when you're running it through the die cutting machine. So I'll just get this tape down. And then I'll get a little piece on the other side. So I'll get this cut down. And then I'll just run it through the machine. Now this runs a little longer, so actually I'll use my Anna Griffin Empress machine. Okay, so I do have the long plates for the Anna Griffin Empress machine. So I'll just run this through twice and I'll be back. Okay, I am back and I have my wrapper pieces cut out, and I did use the long plates and use my Anna Griffin electric machine, but I still could have cut this out using the Grand Marquis So let me just show you. So even though it's just a tad bit too short, I could have ran it through my machine, and then what you want to do is just flip this around and run it through again. So then I would flip this around and just run it through again, and you can just really run it through partially just to get the little piece that was too short, and just run it through partially, and then you can roll it back out. So don't let that deter you. If you don't have long enough plates, you can use that method. So let me just get this machine out the way and grab my instructions. I really do need to get my craft room together. It's like every time you get new crafts, and my table is just such a mess. So let's see here. So I have the 2 pieces cut out of the boxes, 2 pieces of the wrapper. Okay, so for step 2, it says with the wrapper layers, right side up, fold on score lines to make wrapper ends. Okay, so they do have the little score lines. So I guess you're just folding them in. It says valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain. So I don't know if I'm doing this right, but I'll just fold here the best way I can on these score lines. Okay, so I have these scored. I don't know if I did these right. You can always fix them at the end if it's wrong. And just go back and fold it the other way. Sometimes things are just trial and error. Okay, so I have these folded on the score lines. And so I'll do that with the second one, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. And so next we're on to 3, and it says cut a piece of clear acetate to fit the size of the window. So I have a piece of acetate. So I guess, where's that little piece at? So I'm wondering if you use this or a bigger rectangle. I think I'm going to use this bigger rectangle. It says cut a piece of clear acetate to fit the size of the window. But it seems like you would want your acetate piece to be a little bit bigger than the window. Otherwise, it'll just go through. So this is the bigger piece. So it's a little bit bigger. So yeah, I'm going to use the next size up, because this is the smallest one that I used to cut the window out. And so if I cut this out in the same size, it'll just fall through. I don't know. I'm just going to cut it out using this bigger rectangle. It's just a little bit bigger. So I'll cut 2 of these out. And then it says add adhesive to the 4 sides and adhere to the inside of the window. So let me cut 2 of these out and I'll be back. Okay, I am back. And just a quick tip for the acetate. I had tried to just use my regular folder to cut out the acetate on my regular Marquise machine. And you have to have your metal shim. So I didn't have any metal shims for this one. So I just used my smaller Anna Griffin plates, and it has the metal shim right here. And even with this, I had to still use my scissors to cut around it because it didn't cut all the way through. So if you don't have a metal shim, then you can just kind of estimate the size of the rectangle die and just cut it out freehand with your scissors. Either way will work. So let me get cleaned up a little bit and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are gonna get our acetate glued down. So I'll just turn this over. And instead of gluing on the acetate, I'll just glue around the box right here. And I'll try not to be heavy-handed because I am really terrible with glue. So I'm just gonna go around the edges right here. And then I'll just lay my acetate down. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay my acetate down. And I'll just hold it down for a few seconds until it's set. And I'll do this with the second one as well, and I'll be back. Okay, I am back. So I have my acetate glued down. So I'll just hold this up. Hopefully you can see that. And I definitely recommend using the larger rectangle for your acetate. So let me just get this here. So when you cut out the wrapper, as I showed you, you would use the smallest one. But then when you cut your acetate out, I would use the second largest rectangle so you can have space when you glue it down. Okay, so now we'll go to step 4. So we're gonna take our box pieces. So it says fold the inner boxes 1 at the score line and add adhesive to the 2 tabs as shown. So let me just get all these folded on the score lines. And it's just 4 of them. So, okay. So we're gonna add the adhesive right here. Okay. And let me do the same for this one. Okay, so I folded my boxes on the score line. And it says add the adhesive to the 2 tabs as shown. Okay, here we go. So I hope I'm not messing anything up. Just gonna add glue to both sides here. And then step 5 says fold the inner box 2 at the score lines and add adhesive to the 3 tabs as shown. So on the second one, they're telling you to add it to these pieces as well as this piece right here. So we'll do that. Hope everything works out okay. Okay. Now it's saying adhere the short tab of the inner box 2 to the body of inner box 1 at the edge. Okay, let me think about this, and I don't have too much time because my glue is gonna dry. Okay, so it says, I had to read this a couple times. I hope I'm doing it right. It said adhere the short tab of inner box 2 to the body of inner box 1. So, oh boy. I hope I'm doing this right. Okay, I really don't. Okay, so I did step 6 and it just stops right there. And number 7 says adhere the wrapper layer. But I don't have my box complete yet. I don't know. Let me see here. So here's how the box goes. And I guess you don't want to glue this top because you have to get the candy in here. So I guess we're just adding this up here, right? I'm not for sure. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have put glue on all of these sides, because especially if you're using wet glue. So let me just get some glue back on here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take my wrapper and just set it on here like this. So I'm just trying to line my wrapper up. Okay, that looks about good. So I'm gonna let the glue set on here, and then I'll flip it over and do the other side. I don't know where my bone folder is at, but I'm just gonna run my fingers along the inside here. Okay. Okay, so this is the front side. Now I'm gonna flip it over and see my glue is dried on this side, so I wish I would have waited. So I'll go ahead and add some more glue on this side as well. I think the instructions are more suited if you're using like a tape runner or the red strip glue adhesive. Okay, so I'll do the same thing. I'll take my wrapper paper and just line it up. Okay, so we'll let this set a few moments and I'll be back. Okay, so I am back, and you just want to be careful when you're gluing your box down. See how I'm off-centered just a little bit? I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's offset just a little bit. And my glue is dry, so I don't want to pull it and tear the box apart. So this is just a sample, so I'll know the next time I make a box to be careful with that. And so this part will stay open. You'll put your little treats in here, and then you'll close it right here. And then you'll add some twine to close your little box. And so you can add embellishments on here. So they have these extra embellishments, and they actually told you to cut these out in step 1, which I did not. So I'll do that now. I'll cut out some embellishments and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. So I cut out this piece right here using this die right here, and then a largest rectangle. So I cut this out, and I just did one side because this is my pretty Anna Griffin paper. And since this is a sample, because I messed the box up a little bit, I'll just do the front side. And then when I ran this through, it just gives you an impression. So you would have to actually take your scissors and cut this out. And I would assume you would have to do the same with these pieces. So I am not good at fussy cutting, so I'll just leave those to the side. I have plenty of other things I can use for embellishments or decorations. So I'll get this piece glued down to the front. Just want to center it as best you can. Seem like I'm not really doing a good job. But this is so fun, and you can make some of these boxes up for Valentine's. Okay, so I have that on the front of my box. And so I pulled a few embellishments from an Anna Griffin kit that I have, as well as a sentiment that says thinking of you. So I'll just put these to the side. And I grabbed this right here. I'm gonna get some twine out of here. And I had picked this up years ago from Diamond Press. So I think this twine right here would work, or this white right here. This is like a raffia paper. I actually think that would look cute. Let's see if I have enough in here. Yeah, I should have enough. Okay, this should be good. Okay, so I'll just cut this in half. So you're just gonna tie these ends together. And as you can see, I'm not very good with this. Actually, some ribbon would look really nice. And I have some blue ribbon somewhere, but I have no idea where it is. So I'm just gonna tie this. And this is the side that's glued, so maybe I'll tie this one twice, since it's the bottom of the box and I don't want this to come off. Okay, so I have that tied. And then for this side, so you'll put your little candy in here and you'll close the box. I wish this paper was a little bit more sturdier because it doesn't want to lay in here correctly. Okay. And then you'll tie this side. Now this is the side you'll take the candy out on. So I'm just going to tie this one time. Okay, so I have that together, and then I'm just gonna add my little embellishments on here. So I'll play around with this, and then I'll come back with the final look of the candy box. Okay, I am back with the final look of the candy box, and I think this came out so cute. I did find some blue ribbon to add on here, and then I added the embellishments on here. I found some florals, and then I added the sentiment thinking of you and a few rhinestones right here. And so I probably should have used some floral paper. It was some floral paper in the paper pack that I used, but overall I think this came out cute. So let me just bring back over the die set. Okay, so here's the die set. And then they give you examples of how they make it up. And then they do give you the instructions inside again, and more examples on the back. And so yeah, I think this is a cute little project. You can use this all year round. I think Valentine's would be cute to make some boxes up and put some chocolate hearts in here, or Hershey Kisses, or any type of candy that you may want to give to someone else. So take care and see you in the next video.